Hello, I'm John McNamara. I'm the Senior Inventor at IBM Hersley. Welcome to the IBM Innovation Centre Hangout. I'm here today with the awesome Leif Davidsen.
Thank you, John.
How are you, buddy? You all right?
I'm very well, thank you.
Looking forward to Christmas?
Just raring to go.
Excellent. So December seems a good time just to round up the year. Do you give us a quick update on what's been going on this year in terms of messaging?
Okay, well, it's been a very busy year for messaging for IBM. Beginning of the year, we announced the MQ appliance, which went down very well, and I'll maybe tell you later about some of the latest updates we've been doing to that. We have been continuing to deliver functional updates for MQ itself, and of course our MQ Lite capability is being updated, and there are some updates I can fill you in some of the latest news about that as well.
Sweet. Yeah. So what has been going on? What have we done for us lately, Leif?
Well, very little, obviously, as usual, John, but don't tell them.
It's just me, you, and the people watching.
Okay, so, well, lately we've sort of been getting our products ready for the end of the year by delivering some extra presents for our customers.
Loving that.
About a month ago, so I think it was the very beginning of November, we delivered an update to MQ itself, MQ version 8 Fixpack 4, where we added, as well as delivering some fixes, we added a couple of really quite nice new functional updates. One was indeed around MQ Lite support. So
fantastic.
You'll maybe recall that MQ Lite is a simple, stripped down API designed for people who maybe do scripting languages, so JavaScript, PHP, Ruby, that sort of type of programming. So it's messaging APIs designed for those users. And what we've done in our latest MQ Fixpack is actually added listeners in MQ for those languages, that API. So now the developers can be happy. They code with their preferred API, their preferred language. And of course, our enterprise administrators, the people who run MQ, who run the business IT infrastructure, they don't need to have to look for and manage another middleware infrastructure. They can continue to run and manage their MQ infrastructure.
Nice.
And simply those application programs writing to the new API can interact with MQ, send their messages using MQ as the messaging provider. So making it so much better. So that was one of the key updates. There's another really nice little update, something we've been working on for a while. MQ is based around the server client concept. And the MQ clients are an important library that programmers would embed within their applications. And obviously our business partners, our customers would build solutions with that. But because the client is a piece of IBM IP, we never let them actually embed the client in their own offerings and distribute them outside their businesses, because that's distributing IBM IP. We would let them do it if they informed us and signed agreements. But what we've changed in the latest Fixpack, again now available for version 8, is made the clients redistributable. So now customers can natively embed the client libraries in their solutions, include those solutions and distribute those solutions either outside their enterprise to business partners or directly to customers with no need to do any additional install, any additional licensing. Wow. So it really helps customers who use MQ actually distribute the MQ capability far more easily across the infrastructure.
That's fantastic.
We think so.
Yeah.
So those are some nice little updates in MQ itself. So MQ version 8 tracking along very nicely. Thank you very much. For the appliance, again, we've been keeping the appliance up to date with the MQ enhancements that we've been doing. But an important update on the appliance actually just shipped earlier this week. Today is Wednesday, and Monday this week. So
off the press.
Hot off the press.
You heard it here first, folks.
Breaking news banner across the bottom. We've shipped the latest update for the appliance, which again has lots of fixes in it.
Yep.
And it's got some additional function, but the one I particularly want to call out is something that we've been working on for some time. We call it our disaster recovery support.
Okay.
Now, one of the neat features about the MQ appliance is our built-in high availability. So you want to obviously fail over. You depend on MQ. You want it to continue to run, to continue to process messages. So if one fails, you need to say, okay, we switch over automatically to an alternative system. With the appliance, that's easy. You have one appliance, you have another appliance, you create a queue manager on one appliance, you say, make this highly available.
Yeah.
Then all the messages, without frankly doing anything else, synchronously replicate from one appliance to another appliance.
Saw that in the summit, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Yes. So that's been a really important new feature. One of the reasons our customers like the appliance, one of the reasons that our sellers and indeed myself have been kept very busy talking about the benefits of the appliance has been the high availability feature. Now, the issue with high availability for some customers is we design it really for replicating within the data center or if you're very close by, because synchronous replication means the initial transaction can't complete until the replication completes. And we are limited, sadly, by the speed of light.
Just look a bit later.
Damn. We'll have to have our scientists work on that. But really what we've said is, as long as your round trip latency, so the time it takes to replicate, is less than 10 milliseconds, then your original transaction is unlikely to have problems. We actually recommend you keep it to less than 2 milliseconds so that you don't really impact your performance, because otherwise you'll have a bit of waiting. So you're really restricted to having replication between appliances that aren't too far apart. We know people are running 10 kilometers or more, but it's down not really to the distance but the network speed.
Right.
But obviously, if I'm a business and I'm running the MQ on the appliance, but my failover data center, my disaster recovery data center is further away, it might be on the other side of the country.
Sure. Yeah.
That's perfectly valid. How do I move the data so that if I need to failover, if I have a disaster in one, if the entire city block or area goes out, how do I keep running my business without it being a complete administrative headache? The answer to that is doing asynchronous replication, so that you're not dependent on that round trip return time in order to say, okay, now you can complete that transaction. Transaction can complete, but in the background, the asynchronous replication is moving the data. So what we do is we've added, as well as having the HA as an option, so your queue managers can go, okay, I'm doing synchronous replication. You can say, well, actually, that one's fine because that one's replicating to the close one. This queue manager, however, what we want to do is actually have it replicate to, not to the local replica. We want to replicate to the queue manager across the other side of the country.
Right. Okay.
And so in effectively just the same sort of simple way, you say, have this one replicate to another appliance, and now when that queue manager is running, a separate asynchronous process will take the messages once they've been written and replicate them asynchronously to the appliance that's a longer distance away.
Right.
And so that appliance won't be as up to date as a synchronous replica of another thing, but it will be as up to date as the network allows.
Okay.
And then obviously if you have a failure, you then choose to manually start your queue manager because you're likely to have to recover other resources as well. So we don't want to just go, hey, we'll start up and running, hey, without we going, okay, that data center's failed. That means there's applications, there's other databases that we also need to coordinate with. But now MQ is as up to date as everything else that's being replicated is likely to be.
Right.
So you're in a good position now. A really nice way that they've implemented it. It actually gives you a lot of flexibility and power. With the local, the HA replication, it's a pair of appliances. The number is 2, not 3, not 4. It's 2. One is replicating to the other one, and you can go both ways, but it's a pair. It's always a pair. With the asynchronous replication, it's different, quite flexible. Supposing you have half a dozen appliances in your production data center, you can select queue managers on each of those and have them all asynchronously replicate to one single appliance in your DR center.
Okay.
So, I certainly have talked to customers who were concerned that when we created a DR option, that it would be again pairs, and so you'd need to have a rack of otherwise redundant appliances
just standing by
for the hopefully what might never happen. Here you can have a very limited number, one or maybe more, but you can replicate multiple appliances onto that one. And here's another nice thing: supposing you have a number of failover data centers and you wanted to split your replication workload, you could actually have multiple different queue managers from either one appliance or multiple ones replicate to different DR appliances all around the country. Supposing you were running in New York, you had a data center in Houston, you had a data center in Seattle, and another one in Chicago. You have maybe one appliance running a production data center. You could have Queue Manager 1 replicating to Seattle, Queue Manager 2 replicating to Chicago, Queue Manager 3 replicating to Houston. So it's really quite flexible. All to one or one to many.
Yeah, because that's really nice and granular. So you can actually have an area which is dedicated to that. Or you might decide not to have eggs in one basket and distribute it, which is really cool.
So we're pretty happy with the changes we've been making. We're going to continue to obviously enhance the appliances. Lots we can do. We already have plans for future updates for next year. So it's really a question of stay tuned. But this is all being updated through FixPack. So talk to your IBM reps. Reach out to me directly. Happy to get you started with the appliance now, and we continue to build and enhance it.
Fantastic, buddy. So what I'll do is I'll make sure that I get all of the links and the updates and emails, put them in the notes of the video, so anyone's interested in getting in contact and take it from there.
Yeah, I've got a latest update on my blog covering both the topics we talked about today.
So. Sweet, that sounds awesome.
Excellent.
Well, buddy, thank you so very much for coming along and talking again today, and thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.